welcome to my channel again. Today we have a very special guest. He is Nick DiSalvo from Elder and Delving. Nick, welcome and thank you for taking the time for being here with us.
My pleasure.
First of all, congratulations for this new record. It sounds completely awesome. This is all yours. It's your baby. How do you feel about this whole experience? Like going through all of this process, starting with the first notes, the first lyrics, and now giving birth to this amazing and beautiful record.
I'm really proud of this album. It's been something that I've been working on since the first Delving album came out, which was, God, when was that? I think that was already 2020 at this point. And that record in the beginning of this project was kind of a special thing for me anyhow, because I had never had the time in the past decade really to work on some more personal ideas that didn't fit into what we were doing with Elder. And due to the pandemic and due to all the canceled tours, I had plenty of time to work on that. And that first record came out really nicely, and I feel like working on those songs was almost like kind of like a nice therapy for me. So since the pandemic eased up and we were able to go on tour again, we've been really busy with Elder, and I always had in the back of my mind, like, oh, I really want to make this another Delving record, but it's been hard to kind of squeeze in the time in between those tours to finally work on those songs. But I think, due to that expanding, due to the songwriting process for the second record happening over a couple of years as opposed to a couple, months, it's a really diverse record, and it's got the ideas are much more vibrant. I think it covers more ground than the first record, and I'm also really stoked on the way it sounds. I think it's probably one of the nicest sounding records I've ever worked on. Just it's very hard hitting, it's very groovy, it's very pleasing to listen to with headphones on, I think.
Yeah, you're totally right. And when it was the time to give my thoughts on this record, I didn't know what to say. It was a lot of information to digest and to try to push it outside. So I had to listen to the album a couple of times just to know what to say. Were you expecting this type of reactions?
Well, I mean, to be honest, like I said, you're the first person who's reviewed the album, and it's not it doesn't go without saying that everyone who listens to the record will give it the time to listen multiple times. Most people are busy. There's only 24 hours in a day, and if you're reviewing a lot of records, I think it's easy to say, okay, I'll just browse through it once and then that's it. So thank you for taking the time. And I think, but if you do take the time to listen to the record multiple rotations and get into the songs, I always try to pack everything I work on with lots of ideas and subtleties and things to discover over repeated listens, so that it's a rewarding process to return to an album and you want to go back and keep digging. And so, yeah, I think that for listeners with this kind of patience, hopefully it'll be enjoyed. But I mean, it's all a matter of taste at the end of the day. There's some big riffs and there's some electronic sequences, and there's a lot of stuff that might not feel like it's like it all goes together. Someone might listen to it and say, like, why the hell is there, why is the song electronic and then it's fucking like heavy rock? Like, it doesn't make any sense for me. So it's all a matter of personal preference.
Yeah, that's true. And every time that I listen to this record, I find different things like going on inside. So it's very rewarding to give it a few shots. And just like I said, this album is full of emotions, full of colors, joy, sadness, nostalgia. How do you feel when you listen to this record yourself? I mean, do you feel this kind of emotions? What are your feelings like listening to this record, which is
Definitely,
yours, obviously?
Yeah. No, I mean, I really can remember always where I'm at in life and what was going on in life when working on each of these songs. And since these songs, like I said, kind of were written over the period of some years, and some of these ideas are even older, it takes me back. It's a nostalgic record for me too. And there are just it kind of runs the gamut of everything from, you know, like intense things that, you know, sum up like angst or fear or anxiety or whatever, to just like joy. And it's meant to be a kind of a journey through the, I don't know, or for me, it's kind of like a journey through all of my like personal experiences over the past couple of years. So that being said, now that the record's finally finished, I'm kind of tired of these songs. I've listened to them so many goddamn times. So it's not that I'm really over here listening to the record myself and like revisiting it all. It's kind of on to the next thing already. But now I'm excited that other people get a chance to experience the songs too, and hopefully have some sort of emotional response of their own.
Now that you're saying this, what are the next steps for you to take from now on?
I'm working on the next Elder record at the moment. That's the big priority. And I've got another band that I'm playing drums in that's called Weite, Weite. And that's like kind of similar to Delving in the way that it's also this like psychedelic instrumental music. But I'm not really the principal songwriter there. But that band also just recorded a record which we're mixing and will be released in November. So there's like, in my world, I've got these 3 bands now going on, and they're all making records and they're all touring. And so it's kind of like in this, yeah, when there's, you know, time for one and when it's finished, on to the next thing. So yeah, the next big project for me is definitely the next Elder record, and hopefully trying to get that finished and recorded by ideally early next year, but we'll see.
That's it. How do you keep your mind in a safe place? Because I mean, now having 3 bands, 3 projects going on at the same time, it's like you're full of work. You have to do a lot of things. Do you have
Yeah.
any hobby? Do you have any, I don't know, free time for doing another stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the good thing about this becoming to the point where it is work, of course. I guess I look at it as my job, but it is my hobby, it's my passion. I love playing music, I love writing music, and um yeah, I guess I'm kind of a workaholic when it comes to that, as are most people who have their own, you know, businesses and their own, you know, I'm sure you're like you're reviewing music for free, and you're probably taking a lot of time out of your, you know, we all do this because we love music. I think that's the big passion in all of our lives. And man,
That's
I'm
right.
super happy to do what I do. I don't if I felt like I didn't have the time or the mental space, I would quit a band or maybe take a hiatus or something. And maybe maybe I'll hit the burnout point within a couple of years. But I guess it helps that I don't really have any other big hobbies, you know.
Yeah. I read somewhere that Hirschbrunnen, I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, your first record was motivated by your personal experience during the pandemic situation, like trying to find inspiration in every single thing of your daily life. What was the inspiration for this new record?
I don't think there's one uniform there's nothing I could really point to say this is what inspired this album, because just purely due to the fact that these songs were written over a longer period of time, I don't think there was necessary. I guess like this project is always informed more by the everyday experience, whereas Elder is always trying to channel some sort of like epic transcendental themes. This is really just about, like, as stupid and banal as it might sound, like whatever, like however you're feeling that day, if you sit down and pick up a guitar or start, you know, sit down at the keyboard or whatever, like what comes out, how are you feeling? And that's why I'm also really not worried about how it sounds, what instruments are used, if it's an electronic sounding song or if it's a very like hard rock song. It kind of doesn't matter, just because it's really all about the, you know, whatever is going on in my mind in that particular day.
Okay.
And I mean, I guess like in looking in retrospect at the collection of songs, you know, that's really the reason I titled this album All Paths Diverge, because I feel like this is about these, the whole thing with this band is about personal growth and, the experience of the everyday and the experience of the everyman. I really feel like, if I look back at everything I've done musically throughout my entire life, I feel like, things just keep going further and further and growing and growing. And so that's also kind of like, tied into the album topic and the album overarching theme, if you want to call it that.
Yes. I have I don't know, a very personal question, I guess. What is the thing that makes you feel more proud of in your life as a musician? I mean, because with this new project, you have total freedom. You can do whatever you want. But let me say that this freedom is not easy to find into this world. You know what I mean? And the music industry.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't expect any great commercial success from this music. And well, I don't expect any great commercial success from any music I've been involved with. And that was always the deal when, I think that was always the joke, like, hey mom, I'm going to become a rock musician, like, be ready to bail me out in 20 years when I'm like sitting in an alley behind 7-Eleven. But I mean, we've been lucky that Elder in particular has found our way over the past, like, God, how long has that band been going on for? Like 15, 16, 17 years, like way longer than we expected, but kind of, if you don't die, you eventually find your fan base. And we've amassed a really cool, like, fan base that seems to be very much into the same kind of, long format, epic, like music for people with patience. And it's heavy, but it's also kind of brainy. And there are listeners for that kind of music. You just have to take the time to find them. And I am very proud of the success that we've found with Elder. At the same time, because that band has been going for so long and kind of established the identity of the band, if you want to call it that, as a heavy rock band, there is somewhat less freedom, self-imposed, of course. No one's telling us what to do. We could do whatever we want, but there is an identity to the band, and we don't want to stray too far from that necessarily. I'm very happy that Delving is very much a free, very expressive outlet for me, where I can scratch the itch if it comes time to like turn on all my synthesizers and make some goofy shit. No one can tell me not to, except for myself. And I am just as proud of that, and that finding that way to freedom of expression again, as I am with, having played gigantic festivals with Elder. It's just different sides of the music industry experience or whatever.
And we can see this freedom on the cover art of this record, this colorful environment. What do you want to say with these images?
I mean, as with pretty much everything I do, I'm not a very visually minded person. Music is my way of expression, and the visual arts I was never great with. So I always pretty much give my music to someone who I feel like really gets it and ask them to interpret it. And the guy who did the artwork for both this record and the previous one, Hirschbrunnen, is a friend of mine named Benjamin Butter, who's a fantastic artist who's also very multidisciplinary. Like, he does everything from graffiti to fine arts. And he's a very deep dude himself, also a musician and a music lover. And I gave him this art because he did such a I gave him this album to do because he did such a fantastic job with the debut, and essentially told him, go wild, listen to the songs and create what you hear. And that's exactly what he did. And at that point that he made the artwork, the album title wasn't conceived yet. I feel like there's always a fun, like, back and forth dialogue between art and music too, where oftentimes if I see an artistic interpretation of the music, it might help me generate, oh, okay, like that's what I needed to finally get to the album title, or that's what I needed to get to the song title or whatever. So, but yeah, that's all on him, man. He's an amazing artist who just, goes off on his own devices and came up with that album cover.
And the album title has a meaning. For what I've been reading, I don't know. I've been reading a couple of things here and there, but we want to hear it from you. I mean, what does it mean for you, this title?
Yeah, I kind of went into earlier, I was for some reason thinking about this old saying, all roads lead to Rome. And playing around with that. I oftentimes when I'm creating like song titles or album titles, I love language, I love words, I love the sounds of words, and that sounds really stupid. I love, as simple as it sounds, sometimes the song title can just be a phrase or a word that invokes some sort of response in the moment, almost like if you're at an art gallery and you look at a painting, you don't necessarily need to think too deeply about the meaning of it just to visually enjoy it. And I feel that way sometimes with arts, or like a certain phrase will just strike me as, oh, this fits the music. These are all instrumental songs. On the face of it, they don't say anything because they're instrumental. They might convey something and that's oftentimes how I come up with the song titles. I feel like, oh, this music, it conveys this word, this phrase to me, or it's something that's going through my mind while I'm working on it. And yeah, the album title, like I said earlier, is just kind of a summary of how I feel about my music and life in general. That and maybe also the fact that like I'm so used to working with my bandmates in Elder, and we're also all going our own personal musical ways. And this is my own divergent path, if you will. This is my own kind of like musical growth, and everyone's on their own divergent path. And not every road is leading back to the same origin point. I think they just keep branching out and going into weirder places. I'm never really great at explaining sort of like errant thoughts that go off of my mind. So take it for what it is. I mean, it's half abstract, as with everything I do, but that's kind of the main theme of it.
Okay. What is your perspective of life? I mean, you're free to express yourself here. What is the most valuable thing for you as a human being?
Most valuable thing for me as a human being.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I consider myself extremely fortunate. I grew up in a safe environment, in a stable country, in a peaceful country. I have personal freedom. I have freedom of mobility. I mean, what more is there to value, like in life, especially now I'm getting in my mid-30s, we're approaching middle age. I've got my health, I've got freedom. We also see how much horrible shit happens in the world all the time. I don't really know what else you could value other than your own, safety and peace and freedom. So I don't know if that has anything to do with me as a musician. I try to stay humble and I try to stay appreciative of the life I've got. And no matter what happens to you, there's always a lot of people in the world who have it way worse. So I guess keeping that perspective is important.
Okay, dude. So you have plans of taking this project to the next level? I mean, a live experience. I saw what you did with Elder in 2023 at the Pop Festival with this amazing background, like the mountains and this beautiful green environment full of life. But I'm talking about taking it to a level where the world can see and feel this music live.
Yeah, I mean, shit. Hey, sorry. My computer overrode my Zoom. Not sure how.
No problem.
Yes. I would like to ideally do some shows with this band, some tours with this band. I think the music is, it sounds arrogant to say, but I think the music is good enough and it's interesting enough and it's unique enough where, I would like for people to hear it. I really do think that it could resonate with a lot of people. And I find myself super frustrated in this like social media, Spotify, digital music world that we live in. Cause like, I'm paralyzed sometimes. I feel like there's so much amazing music being produced all the time, but you don't get to it unless the algorithm is letting you, or the paywall is letting you, or, unless the band is fucking, paid enough money to Facebook to get through that paywall. And I haven't done that for most of my music. For, you know, you just kind of say like, I don't want to play by these rules, but you do kind of get left behind. And I think I'm going to, you know, try a little bit more to step up, maybe step up my game in all regards, to try and do a little bit more and try and, I guess, invest a little bit more to reach more people. Because I do think it's a good record. I think it's a good band with something to say. And I would ideally love to play more shows, but, you know, if you're going to get in a van and tour and then every show only 30 people show up, there's no point anyhow. So yeah, gonna build it organically, but also try and, you know, do as much as we can and market this thing, hopefully.
Once again, I want to say thank you for taking the time to be here with me. I was really happy with the news that I was having the chance to have this interview with you. Just like I said on Instagram, I was looking for this, and now I'm truly happy with the result. I'm finally here with you, and that means the world for me.
Well, thanks for, I mean, I know your blog is called like Metal, what is it? Metal Mayhem, Metal Maniacs?
Yeah, some sort of.
Sorry. Yeah, no, I don't, thank you for keeping an open mind. Thank you for listening to the music and listening multiple times. And, you know, that's what I love about this scene. You know, I'm a metalhead at heart, but I feel like there's something special and kind of intelligent and intelligent. I don't know. I like to think that open-minded about our community. It's cool. So thanks for your interest and thanks for helping get the record out there.
No problem, man. I'm always here, and you are always welcomed here in Argentina, here in South America. I don't know if you've ever been here, but
no, I've never been to South America. Yeah, I would love to see Argentina. I've heard it's the crowds are crazy. Well, we keep talking, especially with Elder, about making a tour down there, but I think we lack the contacts right now. But maybe 25 is going to be our year. Who knows?
Well, be ready for when you come here.
All right, cool.
Well, bro, thank you so much. Have a nice day, and thank you again.
Yeah, you too. All right, cheers, man.
Cheers. See you.